employees can still use AI in a safe manner, but we want to make sure we eliminate some of the sensitive data that might be going out, any of the secrets that might be being shared, or API keys or cloud access tokens, things like that, right? So we want to make sure that employees can adopt AI and they can use it for their job function, but we want to make sure that they're at the same time using it safely, and then providing them some general use guidelines too when maybe a violation might happen, right? So some of the other risks are like, topics that are being also discussed within the workplace. So let's just take an example like stock trading. Maybe we don't want the organization talking about stock trading for certain reasons, right? And then when we get into our homegrown AI applications, so I just wanted to talk about a little bit of the risks, right? So we see the risks here that we kind of talked about verbally, but on the screen here, shadow AI is a thing. Our developers are using these IDEs, and they're using cloud AI code assistants, and we want to make sure that we can redact any sensitive data from going out, right? So let's just look at how prompt actually covers these risks for an organization, right? Our main use case today that all of our customers are looking at is the employee usage of AI, right? We have four different pillars. The fourth one on the far right hand side is something that's in beta and coming soon. We won't be touching on it too much today, but we will be talking about it in later releases that are coming to prompt this year. But really, on the left hand side, on the far left hand side, is the employee usage, right? So enabling employees to use AI in a safe manner, making sure that we can redact any types of sensitive data that might be going out and might be PII or PCI, and then putting some also user guardrails in place from a departmental standpoint as well, right? So we want to make sure that employees can still use these chat GPTs, these Gemini, the co-pilots, but we want to make sure that they're doing it in a safe manner, and the company crown jewels are not being shared in these third-party LLMs, right? Then we go on to the developer side of things and AI code assistants like GitHub Copilot and Cursor. We want to make sure that they're not exposing any secrets or IP of the company, right? We want to make sure that when they're using AI code assistants, that they are able to do it in a safe manner. They're still able to, build code and all that good stuff. But we want to make sure that any kinds of sensitive data is also redacted and make sure it's blocked from going out to those AI code assistants. Now, homegrown AI applications, much of the same, but we were looking at a little bit something different, right? Because we might have customers using our homegrown AI applications, like the example I gave of Air Canada. We want to make sure that there's no harmful responses happening, or just misaligned content. And what would happen there is it would cause some brand damage to the company, right? So we want to make sure that they're using, or their customers are getting the homegrown application as designed, right? And make sure that there's no, prompt injection or data leaks happening there. So we want to make sure. And then on the far right, again, we're coming out with agentic AI usage for MCP activity. So we are going to be coming out with that very soon, but that's still in beta. So going back to the prompt for employees, right? So what can we do from a security operations standpoint? Really detect and monitor all of the AI tools that are being used within the organization. I gave top three, kind of the Chat GPT, the Copilot, and the Gemini, but really, we have a long list of them. Anything, from a web perspective with AI in it, we will protect against, right? So we are really eliminating shadow AI for the organization. Now, we want to make sure that we can prevent any data leaks from happening. So we have policies that we can put in place right out of the box that are built for compliance framework. So if you are following PCI, or you have, don't want to share any PII information or GDPR, we can also put those policies in place. Now, from a departmental side of things, we want to make sure that we can put in some user controls, right? So not one size fits all for every organization, and we want to make sure that we can put in granular user controls and policies in place so that the marketing team might have a need to use ChatGPT for marketing reasons, and the security operations team might need just a more of a broader view to these chat or these Gen AI tools that are out there, right? So we can do this in a security rules format, which I'll show you in the demo. Lastly, when there's a violation that happens with, say, Chat GPT or another Gen AI tool, we want to make sure that we coach our employees, right? We want to make sure that the employees understand that, hey, there was a violation that happened here. This is what I shared to the LLM. I see that it picked it up, but it also redacted the information, so I didn't share it. But then at the same time, I can give them some general use guidelines or maybe a link to security awareness training as well, right? So we want to make sure that they have the ability to learn and educate the employee to make sure that they, use better actions next time. Okay. So how does it work, right? At a high level, the employees here on the far left, we have a browser extension that supports many different browsers, and then we have an agent as well, right? So it's either or both, right? So and I'll explain why. So what we do at Prom for at SentinelOne is basically are in the middle. We're the man in the middle. We're looking at any blocking any risky Gen AI apps, so we can block them right out of the gate and by a policy. Then we can also put in policy controls to redact PAI and PCI and GDPR sensitive data. And then we can also put in those granular departmental rules I talked about as well, right? So we stand in the middle with the browser extension or the agent. So the browser extension for your trusted web apps like your Chat GPTs, your Geminis, and whatnot, we will record the prompt that you put into the to the Gen AI tool. We will also record the response for all of the well-known ones, right? So and so the only difference there between the agent is the agent, if you have a Chat GPT fat client on your machine, we will only record the prompt. We won't record the response. And most of the time, we want to understand what is actually being put into the prompt because that's where the sensitive data would be shared. For the security team, this is a really good thing where they get the invisibility, the alerting, the enforcement, and then there's integrations that are tied in, right? So there's SIM integrations. Just about 3 to 4 weeks ago, we just integrated our AI SIM, SentinelOne AI SIM, into Prompt, so it's available there, and the likes of Splunk and S3 buckets and whatnot are still available there as well. We also have integrations for Okta and other IDPs as well. So I'll show that again in the demo. So moving on to the developer side of things, this is agent-based. This is the same agent that would sit on and look for the fat client. That's like the ChatGPT fat client, but it also works for the developer, right? So if the developer has, say, an IDE platform that they're using, we are going to sit in the middle of that, and I'll show you that in the next slide. But what we're really doing is redacting and sanitizing any of the secrets for PII or any IP that's going out. We're making sure that there's no like API keys or AWS keys, and we can also test all of this stuff within the console before we implement policies as well. So we give you full visibility to that, and we are supporting nearly about 30 programming languages here as well. So how does it look from a high level perspective? So your developers on the left, there's an IDE platform there, and then we're sitting on the endpoint. So we're an agent on the endpoint. Now, I know a lot of you may ask, well, is any of this going to be integrated into the Singularity agent, or the unified agent that we have? We are currently working on that. There's no roadmap to it just yet, but we are using Prompt as a standalone solution today because not only are we inviting our existing SentinelOne customers, but any customer can use prompt, even if you have, say, a CrowdStrike or a Microsoft or whatever it may be. So we're making sure that we are using this as a standalone solution right now. There will be some integration that happens later on, but this is right now standalone. So this is an agent that sits on the endpoint. We can put in the policies like I showed for redacting any secrets and PII information to going out to these code assistants. Again, same visibility to the security team. Um, for prompt for homegrown AI applications. Again, just the same look and feel in the console, a little bit different on the policy side. So we're really looking at prompt injection. We're looking down our wallet. We're looking at basically any types of data leakage that can happen. So we want to make sure that there's no, harmful LLM responses that are happening. We want to put in those policies there to make sure that we can moderate the content properly, so that when your end users are using your homegrown AI application, they're doing it safely. There's no rogue information that's coming back to them, like the example I gave for Air Canada. Okay, so how does that work? Very, very simple. The Gen AI app users on the left, your homegrown AI application will have some code that prompt will put in, either by way of, say, JavaScript or curl, and other scripting language. And then we sit in the middle of all of these first party and third party LLMs as well, right? So we're putting in the guardrails to make sure that the content is right. We're making sure that that we're preventing any Gen AI risks. And then really what we're doing here is giving the security team all the visibility that they need. Okay. So you might ask, how does the licensing work for prompt, right? So if you are doing the employee usage use case, it is per employee. And if you have, say, a need for the agent as well, that is another separate license. So there will be, if you want the browser extension and the agent on the endpoint itself, it's two licenses. And then lastly, it's the homegrown protected app, which is done by API volume. Okay. Um, I'm going to jump over now to my demo, and I will take any questions while this is going on. So feel free to, ask questions during the demo here. The demo is going to go through the employee usage use case, and then we'll touch on developers and homegrown applications and the integrations as well. Okay. So this is the prompt dashboard. Really, really nice and clean UI here. Really shows you everything that you need to see from a Gen AI usage standpoint, right? We see that since January 1st to February 18th, which is today, I hope, yep, it shows that we have multiple violations, right? We see 348 violations in the course of the last month and a half since the new year. And then, this is a demo tenant. So my demo SE friends, they all are using, it looks like, ChatGPT to do a lot of their demos. So we can see these are the applications that are being used within the organization. And in customer environments, you'd be surprised at how many Gen AI tools are being used within an organization. And when we show customers this, they see the value, because the value is that, hey, I didn't know this before, right? And I didn't know that all of my users from marketing and legal and finance were using all of these different types of Gen AI tools. But now I have the visibility. Now I can put in, some security guardrails, but still enable them to go and use those tools in a safe manner, right? So here's like ChatGPT. You see some Gemini here. You also see a very nice list by application, violations, and user. Now, I like this because it gives you a really good breakdown, right? So it gives you the chat GPT being obviously number one out there. We see here in the sensitive data that, there's a lot of sensitive data that has gone out, to these Gen AI tools. We see some topic detection as well. And I'll get into that a little bit when we get into that side of the policy. But for ChatGPT, you can see here, there's been, in the last month and a half, 332 violations, now 370 prompts. So what are the prompts? The prompts are when I go into ChatGPT and ask it a question or ask it to do something for me. These are the prompts, right? So we put in 370 prompts, and then we see that there are 15 users going back and equaling to that 332 violations that have happened. So as you can see, my demo friends are creating some really messy stuff and creating some violations here, right? So I see that, I get it. It's ChatGPT, Gemini in kind of the lead here. Now, when I shift over to the violation side of things, now I can see what types of violations are happening in my environment. So I can see that sensitive data, is email address, international bank account information that's being shared out. I see some credit card information, some US social insurance numbers, some US bank numbers, some crypto as well, right? So, and then I can see that there was 201 violations for sensitive data here. Through 90 prompts and through ChatGPT and Gemini. And I see that there's risky 12 users as well. Now, I just want to know, well, who are these users, right? Well, here we have myself, and I'm the riskiest, one of the riskiest users out there. One of my colleagues is a little bit riskier than I am. He might be doing some bad things, but I am a risky user, and I can see that, and I can see what types of, how many violations I've done through 45 prompts, and then all of the different Gen AI applications that I've used to put in these prompts into. So now I have, a good list of users that are risky within the environment. I might need to go back to them and say, hey, listen, it might be time for some security awareness training. It might be time for you to read the general use guidelines of the company. We want to make sure that we're keeping safe here, right? I did so much under my SentinelOne account that I had to switch to my Gmail account, and they still caught me. So, we have the ability to not only catch, we have the ability to catch every account that's being used, right? Um, so this is a really nice dashboard. I'm going to switch over to the activity monitor, and this is where a lot of the good stuff happens, right, everyone? So this is where we catch the prompt that went in, we catch the responses that come back from those well-known Gen AI tools. So I'm gonna go to ChatGPT here really quickly, and I'm going to get a warning message. Now, this warning message is just basically by way of policy. We can uncheck this so that the end user doesn't actually, see that they're being assessed on what they're doing in ChatGPT or those Gen AI tools. We can take this off, right? So I'm going to accept it. I'm going to say, yeah, I understand. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask a simple question, right? I'm going to say, hey, what is the weather? Now, shouldn't be a violation for my organization because I should be able to ask what the weather is, right? When I go back to prompt, I can see here when I refresh my screen that I've not only recorded the prompt that I put into ChatGPT, and I can get some details. I use ChatGPT here. It took me only 18 milliseconds to get this information back, which is fantastic when you talk to developers. Latency is everything, right? So you want to make sure that you got the prompt, but then also you can see here from what I got the response back, I also recorded the response as well, right? So this is really great, but let's get a little bit more let's do something where it's going to cause a violation, right? So here I'm going to put in an email address and an international bank account number, right? So here I'm going to say, write me an email to robert@example.com with this payment, about a payment to an IBAN code. So right now, what happens is I've just created two violations. One was for my email address, and one was for this international bank account number. Why are these violations? Is because in the policy, we turned on PAI, right? And we turned on some PCI policies for my user, right? So here we can see that there was two violations that happened. This is the original IBAN code that was shared. And then I can also see that what prompt actually modified it to and then shared to the LLM, to ChatGPT. So in the background here, and I'll show you in a second, we also had a email address that was redacted via email address. So I understand here that I've done a couple of violations that shouldn't have been done, but now I can come back and see in ChatGPT that I redacted the email address, I redacted the IBAN, the international bank account number. I still gave the end user what they were looking for the email that they wanted to write. So the end user can go and take this and copy and paste this back into their Outlook or their Gmail or whatever email client they're using, and then insert the IBAN code internally and the email address again. So let's go back and look at the console to see what happened, right? So we see here that I shared an IBAN code for Robert at example.com. I see what we modified it to, and then I see a little bit of the difference that happened, right? And I can also see what kind of protection was that caught this. This was the sensitive data policy that I have put in place, which I'll get to in a second. So here you can see by way of, and you can see there's someone else doing a demo right as we speak. They did the same thing as me. But here you can see that I shared some sensitive data, right? And so we protected the end user from sharing this data out. Now, when we go back to the here, we have a ton of different um, um, related data types. In PII, you might ask, well, is there anything for Canada? Of course, right? So there's Canada bank account number, there's driver's license, health insurance numbers, passports, all of that good stuff here, right? So we have all of this different information, these policies in place already for you. And then what we can also do is outside of the compliance frameworks is we can build custom data types. So if you have any custom data that you want to protect against from going out, we can make sure that we can put this into the console here, and then we can test it in the playground to see what would happen first before we deploy it out to the masses in the organization. Okay, so we can not only redact the information like I showed in the demo in ChatGPT, but we can also block it as well if need be. Secrets, again, this is API keys, cloud tokens, AWS keys, whatever you would like here. We can redact all of that from being shared in the browser, right? And then obviously we have regex as well. The one thing that I wanted to touch on here is very important, and it's a really good use case for many of our customers today is the topic detector, right? So here, the topic detection is, a customer may come to us and say, hey, listen, I don't want my employees talking about stock trading or getting stock trading advice while they're, using a corporate device. No problem, right? So what we did here was put in some stock trading as a block topic. We can also monitor these topics to see, hey, is this actually happening within the environment? Or we can also look at the activity monitor to see, hey, what types of things are being talked about as well, to put in some blocking here as well. So we can go over here and say, well, let's just test the topic detection for stock trading, right? So here I have ChatGPT again, and I'm going to just say, hey, should I buy 100 shares of NVIDIA? Well, here what I've done is already blocked the action from happening or the prompt from going to ChatGPT. The topic detector did come up as stock trading. I actually didn't share anything to ChatGPT. And then when I go back to my activity monitor, I can see here that topic detection happened, right? So we just matched the topic detector here. Now, it is very sophisticated. You might ask, well, will this cause any types of like false positives or things like that, right? So we can ask a different question. We can say, hey, I'm looking to buy NVIDIA graphic cards. Which one should I buy? And that response will come back without any sensitive data or topic detection, being hit on the policy itself. So topic detection, really, really, really great for things that the organization might want to block against. Or even monitor, right? And then we have the harmful content moderator, which, we look at any types of hateful or harassment, public harm. We can add to this, but we can also put this in for blocking and make sure that there's some guardrails put in place there as well. Okay. So the next piece I wanted to really talk about was when I talked about the departmental rules or user defined rules, right? So we have the what we call our security rules here. So back here, I showed where the policies were. We can have multiple policies for, multiple scenarios within the organization. But here is where it all kind of ties together, right? So think about a firewall. I'm sure that everybody on this call today has worked with a firewall and knows how a firewall works, but most firewalls work from, top to bottom, right? So first rule, and then you got your third, like in my case, my third rule, which is my kind of default rule or my cleanup rule. So what happens here is, we have all users that are allowed to use Glean, right? So at SentinelOne, we're using Glean today because it's our internal AI application, right? And so we don't want to really track that because you can imagine over how many employees we have and they're using it on a daily basis. That would cause a lot of activity inside the console, and we don't need to really look at that because it's internal, right? Now, on the second rule, we have all users again, which includes myself, going to a website called koala.sh. Now, I can block this, so we've blocked it for myself here. So if I were to go to koala.sh, I would just get a block, and it will just block me from going to this website, right? And then in the last one here, we're just saying every application you see with AI in it, we just want to protect against it. We want to log all the interactions. We want to warn the user before accessing the website as well. So when I went to ChatGPT and I put in chatgpt.com, you saw that warning message that came up that I was going there. This is where we would uncheck or check this so that we can, ensure that our users are aware that we are going to a Gen AI tool. Okay. So this policy here is in place. This is the policy where you saw my violations happen. This is the policy, where, you saw the topic detection happen. So this is tied to this policy here, okay? And we can have multiple different policies in place. And we can also have our Okta or our, integrations for identity in here so that you can actually just pull the users from, your identity provider into here as well, and then start creating rules that way. Now, I wanted to get into the deployment. I've been in cybersecurity for about 20 plus years, and I can't say enough how easy Prompt is to deploy. Now, if you were to looking to do a POC with Prompt, no problem. We can do that via a manual install. We support all of these different browsers along with some enterprise browsers as well. And this is really where, the browser extensions sits here. So I'm using Chrome today. And all I really needed to do was go to the extension store, which is here, and then download the prompt extension browser extension, and then basically all I need to input into the browser extension is the API domain and the API key, and away I go. That's it. I'm done. Right now, for larger, more mass deployments, we would use an MDM, right? So we have an MDM for uh, integration for Microsoft Intune, for JAMF if you're using say Windows or Mac, sorry. And then we can get the download the PowerShell file, which will have the embedded API domain and the keys all there for you so that you don't actually have to do anything. It's just put it in. We have a few scripts that are already set up for you, and away you go. Okay, so the deployment of this is very, very simple. Um, Lastly, on the employee side of things, I just wanted to really show the Gen AI pop-up. So you saw the pop-up that came up on my screen. Here is basically where you see you can do some security awareness, or you can put your company logo on the Gen AI on the pop-up itself. You can also, put in links to general use guidelines as well, right? So this is available to fully customize as well, right? Now, we can also block file upload from happening to these Gen AI tools. Right now, it's unchecked for me, so I can upload files if needed to. And then we can also log the responses in the top AIs. So I show you some of the responses that were coming. This is the checkbox that says, I don't want the responses. I just want to know what they're putting into the prompts. And then for ChatGPT, a little bit more ChatGPT specific settings, because it's kind of the holy grail of Gen AI tools right now. So there's a little bit more specific settings that we can put in place. If you had like a ChatGPT workspace, we can, make sure that your users are using that. We can block developer mode. And then we can also block some personal accounts from being used, right? So we can completely block, personal accounts for 5 of these Gen AI tools that we have today. And then I'm going to get into integration. So data retention, we can go up to 1 year here, 365 days to retain the data that's been on the activity monitor and the audit logs as well. And then also we have Entra ID, we have Okta for your identity platforms, along with Google as well. We can put in some single sign-on integration here for you. And then we can also look at the log management platform, so your SIMs, right? So I mentioned a whole bunch of them, but SentinelOne, Singularity, AI SIM is there, Splunk is there as well, S3 buckets is included as well. So lastly, I want to also show the audit log. So everything is audited within the console, right? So from me looking at the activity monitor to implementing policies, all of it is logged here. It also can be sent to a SIM as well. Okay. Um, the last couple things here, I know we only have about 14 minutes left, I think it is, but I wanted to just show the developer side of things. So again, the policies look a lot the same. It's just that we're blocking, secret scanning, so API tokens, cloud tokens. You can actually come over here and get some test stuff, testing material that you can actually test here, so that you don't actually have to use your own stuff to test. We'll give you some test tokens to use here as well. The security rule side of things are very much the same as what I showed in the employee side. It's all by way of policy. And then the deployment side is an agent, as I mentioned in the slide deck. Okay. This homegrown AI applications, a little bit different on the policy side. Again, we're looking at prompt injection, data leak detector. We're also, able to protect against sensitive data. So a lot of the stuff that we saw in the employee side of things is much the same here. When we get into security rules, again, a nice same look and feel. Deployment is a little bit different. It's an API here. So for either curl, Python, JavaScript, and so on and so forth, we have that. It's a little bit of a code customization that we do on our end and fits right into your custom homegrown app. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. But I wanted to open it up for questions, and I think Assurance IT, if you guys want to come on back on the line, that'd be
On my
great.
end is, why would you need both licenses?
It's just the way, because one is a browser extension and one is an agent. Right now, it's set up as 2 separate SKUs. It might be all in one SKU after some integration happens, but at this time, it's just 2 separate SKUs.
There's a second question that says, would this be able to see the GPTs built into apps or platforms as opposed to directly using the LLM, such as ChatGPT? For example, a Rovo prompt in Atlassian or a Copilot prompt in Excel.
This would be able to see, so if it's through the browser, it should be able to see the embedded AI that's being used there. If you're using a desktop application, that's where the agent will come into place.
The Microsoft app, what happens to the SentinelOne tool there? Does the system work with Edge? Is it smart enough to work with Edge if you're using a
Yes,
personal account versus a corporate account? Yeah.
yeah, so we support Edge as well as a supported browser.
There's some concerns over user privacy. Um, Big IT leaders have been accused of kind of being the big brother 1984 figure, right? How do we deal with compliance regarding that?
So, I mean, topic detection doesn't need to be used within the organization. It is a feature that can be turned on or turned off. This is something that the organization can make a decision on if they're going to use it or not. Usually, we're seeing, I would say, 80% of our customers using topic detection and the other 20 using just the compliance frameworks and building custom data types within the policies and then using the security rules to guardrail of which users can do what they need to do within the environment.
So, thank you very much, Nick, for taking the time out of your day to give us this wonderful demo. It was very thorough. We really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who took the time out of their lunch today to attend the Lunch and Learn. We're just kickstarting off 2026, guys, and we're really, really happy to have you all here. And we know that this year there's a lot more in store, so we're going to keep you up to date. Please stay posted. We have another Lunch and Learn coming very, very soon. So, everybody, thank you so much for attending, and we wish you a wonderful day. Thank you.